अन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 5, verse number 17. So we are reading the description of celebration of Krishna's birthday in Gokula after he was transported from Mathura by Sri Vasudeva. So we read how Nanda Maharaj, he gave charities. Many people came, all the cowherd men and the cowherd ladies, they came with the gifts and they were singing, dancing. Then they started playing with each other, throwing yogurt, ghee, milk, butter mixed with turmeric. Maybe they were throwing flowers also. And then Nanda Maharaj, he also gave charity to the Sutas, Magadas, Vandis, gymnasts, magicians, right, snake charmers. monkey trainers, all types of people came, so they were all given. So he made everyone happy, but the important part was he did this Vishnu Aradhanarthaya Saputrasya Udayaya cha. He did this not just, sometimes people also make big festivals so that they become famous, people praise them, that we have never seen any birthday celebration like this. In India especially marriages are done like that. Everyone wants to outdo the other one, something new, so that people talk about it. So he was doing this for pleasure of Vishnu and ultimately for pleasure of Krishna. So Swaputrasya Udayaya, for welfare of his own son. So then now the next sloka talks about Rohini. So Rohini was one of the wives of Vasudeva. How many wives Vasudeva had? 16? Yes, came in 9th Canto. So Samrita, you 13? No. I think 16. Where is Purushottam Prabhu? He is expert in this. Nectar for numbers. 16, you can check the 16 number. I think.
Names are not given.
Okay. No, number. How many wives Vasudeva had?
18. 1 8.
Okay. I thought 16. Okay, 18. So one of them was Rohini. And Rohini was also pregnant. So then he was sent to place of Nanda Maharaj. And this was also for protection. Because if she would have remained in Mathura, then maybe Kamsa would also kill that child. After all, it was said that 8th child of Devaki, but since he was killing, he could kill that also. So she was sent. And Balram was born just 2 weeks before Krishna was born. So therefore he was born on the Purnima. And Krishna was born on Ashtami. So 8 days, that's not 2 weeks, right? 8 days. So he's not very much elder to Krishna. That's why it is described that they both were playing together. They both were growing together. They were like twins. So then Rohini was also participating. So it says Rohini cha Mahabhaga Nanda Gopa Abhinandita Vicharat Divya Vasas Srak Kanthabharana Bhushita. So Rohini, the highly fortunate one, because she is also mother of Sri Balram. So she was very much honored by Nanda Maharaj. Because first Balram was born, although there is no big description of his birthday celebration. But definitely it was very auspicious moment for Nanda Maharaj that first Balram came, then Krishna came. So he also honored Rohini very much, because he also gave birth to a child. And she was also engaged in activities there, moving here and there and taking care. So it is described that she was very much also dressed nicely. Divya, Vasa, divine dresses, garland, Kanthabharan, necklace, etc. So all that, she was also happy and busy. Although truly speaking, when child is born, then there is a period of sutak, but she was still engaged in taking care of the guests. So Mahabhaga Vasudeva Patnibhya Sarvabhyo api Sri Krishna Rāsa-līlā Utsava Labhatati Bhava. So she is described here as Mahabhaga, highly fortunate. Why? Because among all the wives of Vasudeva, she is the only one who got the great fortune to see Krishna's childhood pastime, beginning from his birthday celebration. No one else, because they were not there. And then when Krishna went to Mathura, she was also there. So Rohini is the one who is both in Krishna's Vrindavan Leela and also in Dwarka Leela. Devaki is only in Dwarka Leela or Mathura, but not in Vrindavan, and Yashoda is only in Vrindavan, but Rohini is in both places. So she is highly fortunate. And Nanda Gopena Nanda Rajena. So he says Nanda Gopa Abhinandita, that was honored by Nanda Gopa. This is making this reverberation. Put it somewhere else. Is it really needed? You need it? So Nanda Gopa, Gopa means cowherd, but Gopa can also mean king. Right? Gopa. So Ga Palayati, Ga means cows, and Go can also mean earth. So just like king is called Bhupa, who protects the Bhu or earth. So he's also called Gopa because Go also means earth. So he's therefore translating the word Nanda Gopa as Nanda, the king. Nanda Raja. Nanda Gopena Nanda Rajena. Gopo Bhupo api iti amara. According to Amar Kosh dictionary, the word Gopa also means Bhupa or king. Abhinandita Tvad Agamana Mangale Naiva Matputra Ayam Bhutiti. So he honored her as if he was saying that by your arrival here in Gokula, I got a son. Because Krishna was born after Rohini's arrival. Vyacharat Samagata Stri Jana Sammanana Artham Ityartha. So Vyacharat means moving here and there. That means Rohini was engaged in taking care of the guests. Running. So many people were coming, so you also need people to receive them, take care of them, ask them. They have to be fed, water, place to sit down, receiving garland, chandan, flower, all this. Ladies were coming. So she was busy doing that and engaging the servants. Also bring this, do this, make him sit down, bring a mat here, bring chair there. So therefore Vyacharad means going here and there. So Shri Yashoda Nandabhyam Dattair Bhushita Patir Bandhanadi Dukkham Swasya cha tad Vichedadi Dukkham Sri Krishna Janmotsav Anandena Vishmita Eveti Bhava. So now here it is described that she was dressed nicely. So in Vedic culture it is described that when wife is not with husband, then she does not dress nicely. She does not decorate ornament like this. That is called Proshit Bhartrika. 8 types of Nayikas are there, right? So one of them is called Proshita Bhartrika. So the characteristic of Proshit Bhartrika is described that she doesn't dress up properly. Properly means she doesn't do her what we call alankar. What is it called in English? Like facial, makeup, etc. Shringar. So she does not do that because she does this basically for husband, for the pleasure of husband. So that's why she is called Ardhangini or Dharmapatni. So why she was doing it? Because she is also separated from the husband, and also husband was not in a very happy situation. He was in prison. Of course, he got released now after the girl was born. So then it is described that this is because of the festival of Krishna's birth. It says there was so much happiness because Krishna was born that she forgot all that. She became completely absorbed in Krishna's birth celebrations. And therefore Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they gave nice dress ornaments to her, so she wore it. She could have kept it and said, no, I will not do that. Patyur bandhanadi dukkham. So because the husband was not in a good situation and she was also in separation, but she forgot all that. So that means when Krishna was there, then she was more absorbed in Krishna than her husband. That's the meaning. Tata arabhya nandasya vraja sarva samriddhiman harer nivasa atma gunai rama kridam abhun nripa. So now this question was raised earlier, that from where Nanda Maharaj got so much wealth, because it is described he gave so much gems and ornaments and rice and cows and cloth and money. So from where did he get this much? He was just a cowherd chief, not that he was some big emperor, right? And where was he storing all this? Because they are just cowherd people, they live simply. But the way it is being described here, as if he is like king of heaven. He is living in Amravati. So it is because when Krishna appeared, then all the smriddhi, opulence, also became manifest. So that's why for that Sri Sukadeva Goswami describes, because this doubt will naturally come in the mind. How is this description really true? That so much opulence he had. So he says, Tata arabhya nandasya vraja sarva samriddhiman. Says, after Krishna's appearance, the Nanda's vraja became sarva samriddhiman. So all types of opulence became manifest. Means if it was needed, it was there, otherwise they are cowherd people. So harer nivasa atma gunai rama kridam abhun nripa. So because it was the nivas, the residence of Hari, and because of his qualities, then this became the place of play for Lakshmi Devi, Rama Krida. Means Lakshmi was playing there. So whatever was needed, then that was available. So nanu kuberena api ashakyam naranam kamit puranam Sri Nandarajena katham kritam. So he says that one can ask this question, that even Kubera, who is supposed to be the treasurer of the Devas, master of Navnidhi, even he cannot satisfy the will of human beings, because this Yayati, he said that all the wealth, grains, yavat vrihi pashava, all the gold, animals, they cannot satisfy one person. So how is that Nanda Maharaj has satisfied so many people? Everybody was satisfied, happy. So he says, in response to that, he speaks this verse, Tata Arabhya, that from that point onwards. So Harer Nivasa Bhutasya Atmano Gunair Vrajam Sarva Samruddhimaneva Sarvada Tata Arabhyatu Ramaya Sarva Sampattehe Akridam Kridaspadam Bhut. So this is the place of Sri Krishna's residence. So if it is his residence, then there cannot be any lack of anything there. Because he is Ramapati, he is Lakshmipati, Sripati. So therefore everything was available there. Atmano Gunair, because of his characteristics. Then Sarva Samruddhi Maneva Sarvada. So all types of opulence were available all the time. Tatarabhyatu. And from that point onwards, it actually became the playground for Rama. So some have also commented here that Rama means Radha, and therefore this is an indirect mention that now Radha also appeared, because it became the playground for Rama. So Rama is also name of Lakshmi, Rama is also name of Radha. So therefore they break this in two, that it became opulent and also playground for Rama. Separate. Yadi sarva sampattireva nanda bhavane kriditum arebhe tada kasya deya vastuna tatra abhava iti bhava. So now he says that if all the opulence itself became manifest in the house of Nanda Maharaj, means not only became place of residence but became a place of play. Means the opulence was playing there, just like children play. Like that there was opulence moving around everywhere. So therefore what can be lack? What is that which was not available to give? So that's why whoever wanted whatever, then he gave it to them, because it became available to him. So tada kasya deya vastuna tatra bhava. So what is that deya vastu or thing to be given which will not be available? That is the meaning. So now this is the end of description of the birth celebrations, Nandotsav. So now he describes how Nanda Maharaj, he goes to Mathura to give tax. So Gopan Gokula Rakshayam Nirupya Mathurang Gatah Nandah Kamsasya Varshikyam Karam Datum Kurudvaha. So Sri Sukdev says that, O Parikshit Maharaj, at that time Nanda Maharaj, he appointed cowherd men in protection of Gokula, and by appointing them as guards, then he went to Mathura. Why did he go to Mathura? To give the yearly tax. It's like now also you have to file yearly taxes, right? At the end of year you have to file taxes on your income. So previously also the system was there, that the he is called king of the cowherd, so he has to give to the bigger king, Kamsa. He is under the protection of Kamsa. If some other king attacks, then who will protect? Kamsa will protect. Nanda Maharaj is not keeping an army. If someone comes to steal his cows, then who will give him protection? So therefore he goes to give tax. So it was custom that whatever is one producing, then he gives tax of that. The farmers, they give their produce. Some cowherd people give their milk, ghee. Milk you cannot store, but ghee you can. So just like in the West they make cheese. In the summertime in Switzerland the cows go on the mountain. So now there is so much milk, but there is no way to supply it down. So what do? They make cheese. The cheese can be stored. So in the West they invented cheese, in India they invented ghee. Because to store cheese you need fridge. Otherwise it will smell bad. But ghee does not need fridge. So therefore here the ghee works, there the cheese works. So Nanda Maharaj brought a lot of ghee to Kamsa for him, for his wrestlers, for doing yajna. And maybe some cows if he wanted, he can also give him cows. So Varshikyam Karam Datum Kurudvaha. So actually what happened is that Vasudeva, he knew that Krishna is there in Gokul. He also knew that Kamsa had a meeting with his associates, with his ministers, and they had all decided to kill children. So he was very much worried about his son. As far as he is concerned, Krishna is his son. He's not thinking this is Nanda Maharaj's son. So Nanda Maharaj is thinking Krishna is my son. Vasudeva is thinking he is my son. So Vasudeva is worried about this fact. So therefore he sent a message to Nanda Maharaj that it will be good if you can give your yearly tax now, so that Kamsa will be happy with you and not cause any disturbance. And that's why when Nanda Maharaj is leaving, he is keeping gopas to protect. Otherwise, what is there he has to protect? The cows are going in the field every day. Protect from what? Tigers. So, because they are worried that something can happen to Krishna, therefore, Gopan, Gokula Rakshayam. So, if he comes and he gives tax to Kamsa and tells him, I have a son born, this, that, then Kamsa may not try to kill his son. After all, he is bringing tax to him. So when you give gift to somebody, then that person's heart changes, right? So if you bring ghee for somebody, yogurt, some sweets, made some nice milk sweets, they can also last long. So he must have brought some milk sweets, ghee at least, some yogurt also okay. It can also last 1 or 2 days. You can make curry next day when it becomes sour. So he brought parts and parts of this in bullock carts. So he started with bullock carts. Obviously he is not carrying on his head. And it takes a whole day to come all the way from Gokul is not so close to Mathura. We're coming with bullock cart. So he came there to give the tax. All the carts were loaded with nice, fresh, organic ghee. These days is very rare. So Chirat Sarva Manohar Putrotpatya Prapta Mahanidhiriva Shreyamshi Bahuvignani Iti Vimrishya Srinandarajo Yatha Deva Pitri Dikapala Grahadin Pujadibhihi Prasadayamase Tatha Desadhyaksham Dushta Nrupam Kamsamapi Swarnamudra Ratna Vastradi Upaharena Prasadetum Varshikaram Danamishena Tatsamipam Gantum Na Vilalambe Tyaha Gopati. So he says that after a long time he has got a son, and son was extraordinary, very beautiful. So this was the great wealth for him. So therefore he kept guards to protect this wealth, because you keep guards to protect some precious thing, some wealth. So their wealth actually is cows, but now their wealth is Krishna. So therefore this is the Mahadhana, this is the great wealth, and to protect this, Gopan Nirupya, he appointed cowherd people in protection. Shreyamsi Bahuvignani. So there is a saying in Sanskrit that when you want to do some good work, some auspicious work, so there are always some obstacles which come. If you want to do nonsense, no problem. The world is very cooperative for that. You want to do something spiritual, devotional, then all types of obstacles come, right? Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik. Problems come from all sides. So Shreyamsi Bahuvignani, not one or two. Many obstacles come. That's why people, they don't take to spiritual life, because it's not easy. And if you want to worship Krishna, then in India especially they say don't worship Krishna, because so many problems will come. You want to worship Durga, Ganesh, Shiva, right? But worship of Krishna, he says he will create so many trouble for you. So in India people know this. And now here Krishna himself has born. He has born himself in the house of Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj therefore is worried that now some obstacles will come. And the greatest obstacle can come from Kamsa. So he says, let's please him first. Also he got the news that Kamsa wants to kill newborn babies. So already, as soon as Krishna comes, obstacles start. Although they say that by wherever there is Krishna, Yato Krishna, Tato Jaya. Wherever there is Krishna, there is victory. But there is also a problem. So he said that I have done so many charities, yagyas to please the devas, the pitrus, forefathers, dikpalas, right? We read earlier. So I must also please the local, the manifest deva. Right? So Krishna says that among human beings he is king. So therefore he says, let's go and do puja of Kamsa, because he is a deshadhyaksha, he is the head of the country, and he is a dushta. So he says that we have to please him. So before you please the sadhus, please the dushta person first. Because if sadhus are not going to create trouble, but dushta person will create trouble, so please him first. There is one nice sloka written by Vamsidhar in the beginning of his book, when he writes Bhagavatam commentary. This, I only remember the second line. It says, Mukha prakshalanam purvam, payu prakshalanam tatha. The first line, Dushtan. Anyway, the meaning is that before paying respect to the sadhus, I bow down to the dushtas, the wicked people. He says, just like before you wash your mouth, you clean your behind. Mukh prakshalanat purvam, payu prakshalanam yatha. So payu prakshalam, payu is anus and mukha is. So he says you don't do it other way around. That's the example he gives. So therefore he says that dushta nirpam kamsam api. So therefore to please Kamsa, he took Swarna Mudra, the golden coins, ratna, gems, cloth, all this, etc. means whatever is his own produce. So Varshik Karam Dana Mishena Tat Samipam Gantum Navilanam. So he says this was just an excuse. This was not the time to give the taxes. But Dana Mishena, with the pretext of giving him this tax or giving this charity to him, he went to please him. So therefore he did not delay. So it seems he came there on the 5th day. And that is the day Putana came. I think I said 3rd, it was 5th. So it's supposed to be Chaturdashi when they came. So then he went and they have to cross Yamuna with all these bullock carts. There was no bridge there at that time, like now we have bridge over Yamuna, so they have to take boats, put the whole bullock cart in the boat, big boat, cross. And this was rainy season. Just remember, it was not some month of December, January where Yamuna doesn't have much water, you can walk through it. This was month of Bhadra, mid of rainy season. So must be full water, especially in those days there used to be a lot of rain. So they have to cross the river with bullock carts. So how did they do it? The bullocks, they floated with the cart, right? Because bullocks know naturally how to swim. So they got it. So then he gave the gifts to Kamsa, and Kamsa was very happy, pleased, received him nicely, and then he came back. So Vasudeva, he heard this news. Vasudeva upsritya bhratram nandamagatam jyatva dattakaram rajye yayo tadavamochanam. So Vasudeva, when he heard that his brother Nanda Maharaj has come and he has already given his tax, so knowing this, then he went to the place where they have parked their carts, avamochanam. So just like these days you have in big cities, they have in the West, not in India, but in the West, you have camping grounds, right, where people take their trailers and they camp there. So bullock carts are like that. So big cities also used to have places like this where people, because village people used to come to the city to buy, or some festival is happening, they will come for the festival, so they will come in bullock carts. But you are not going to take the bullock cart inside the town or city. right? There will be a traffic jam. So just like now in Vrindavan, police stops all the cars on the weekend at least, or when there's a big festival, no cars are allowed, they are parked outside. So in India, this custom is old custom, nothing new. So in the cities, because I remember in our childhood, we used to come to Faridabad from our village on certain, there was a festival. So we used to come in bullock carts. And outside the town, it was not some big town, small those days, but there was actually a place, because people were coming from all the nearby villages. So they will all park their cars, bullock carts there. And there was a place where bullocks can remain, and they have to be fed, because you start in the morning, it takes hours and hours to come there, then you come park. The bullocks also have to eat and drink water. And then you go inside the town and you come back to your own place. So you know where you have to come. So this is a fixed place. So it seems it must have been, because it says tada avamochanam. In Sanskrit this word is called here as avamochanam. Mochanam basically means to release, means where the bulls were released from the cart, which means that that's where the carts were parked. And then men or women or whoever people, they can go to the city and do their shopping, or if it is a festival, participate in that, and then come back. And there will be people guarding that area. So that's where he went. Otherwise, where is he going to search him? If Vasudev came to know that Nanda Maharaj has come, now where is he going to find him? So he knew where to go, because he knew where the carts will be parked. So therefore he says, Vasudeva upashrutya bhrataram nandamagatam jatva datta karam rajye yayau tad avamochanam. So he went to the place, the resting place of carts. So Bhratram, why is he calling Nanda Maharaj as brother? What is the relationship of Vasudev? Vasudev is a Kshatriya, Nanda Maharaj is a Vaishya. How is his brother? So he explains, Vaishya Kanyayam Shurvamatre Maitreya Bhratur Jatatvad iti Bharat Tatparye Śrīmad Bhāgavata Charane Ruktam Brahma Vakyam. So as you know that there was a king, his name was Devamidha, and he had two wives. One was Kshatriya, other was Vaishya. So Sursen was born to Kshatriya wife, and Parjanya Maharaj was born to Vaishya wife. So from Sursen was born Vasudev, from Parjanya was born Nanda, Upananda, and these 5 brothers. So therefore they are brother of Vasudeva in that sense. So that's why, as he will write there, that these Brajvasis, they are also sometimes called Yadavas, because they are also coming in Yadu dynasty from Devamidha. So that's what he is referring. So Sri Madhvacharya, he has mentioned this in his book called Bharat Tatparya. This is one of his great work, which gives the meaning of Mahabharata. So there he cites a statement of Brahma. Tasmai maya sa varah sannishrushta sacha asanandakhya utasya bharya namna yashoda sacha suratat sutasya vaishya prabhoyam gopaiti. So he says that I gave a boon to him, and then he is born as Nanda Maharaj. So means the Parjanya was given a boon by Brahma, and that Nanda will born to you, and his wife's name will be Yashoda. And svacha surtat sutasya vasya prabhavatha gopa. So he says that suratata sutasya. So Sura is Sursen, Surtata is Parjanya, no, Devamedha, and his son is Nandavan. So Suratata Sutasya Vaishya Prabhu will be born to the Vaishya wife. Vaishya Prabhu means born to Vaishya. So Gopa, therefore he is Gopa. Iti Vaishya Prabhavam iti. So Pitamahiyas Tajjatitvat. So Vaishya Prabhu means that the grandmother was Vaishya. Ateva Skande, therefore in the Skanda Purana there is a statement. This statement we read in Krishna Sandarbha. Jiva Goswami was referring to this. Yadvanam hitarthaya dhrito girivaro maya iti bhagavad vakyam. So Sri Krishna said that for protecting the Yadavas, I uplifted this mountain Govardhan. So there he is referring to the cowherd people as Yadavas. And Yadavesu cha sarveshu bhavanto mama vallabha iti tad bhratrin prati Ram vakyam cha. So this is the statement of Balram, that among the Yadavas you are my most dear. Tadavmochnam tasya vasati sthanam. So avmochnam means the place where, camping place basically, where the carts were camped. So therefore these two brothers, they met each other. Vasudeva came. Of course he came secretly because he did not want Kamsa to know. Otherwise the doubt will come. These people are known to each other. Maybe they did some hera-fairy, some exchange of the children. So tam drishtva sahasa utthaya deha pranamivagatam pritah priyatamam dorbhyam sasvajay prema vivvalah. So when Nanda Maharaj saw Vasudeva coming, so he immediately got up. He was relaxing. He just had his lunch because he went to meet Kamsa. Then he came back. He was hungry. So then he had his lunch and he took a big lot of buttermilk. And after that, he was lying down. He was relaxing. Right? So after lunch he relaxed. But then he got the news that Vasudeva has come to see him, so he immediately got up. Sahasa utthaya deha pranamivagata. It was as if the life has come back to the body. Sometimes people die and they come back to life. Right? Many stories like that. Somebody died, then he came back to life. So it was like that. As if life has come back to his body. Means he felt very happy. Before that he was just lying down, as if there is no life. After lunch if you drink buttermilk, then you feel lazy and want to lie down. So he was like that. Otherwise why is it said pranamivagata? You can try it. After lunch drink a big lot of buttermilk, then you see how nicely you can sleep. Especially in the summertime. So he did this. He was lying down, relaxing. Old man, after all, he got tired walking all the way because they have to go by walk. Meeting him, then coming back. So he heard, then he became enlivened. So Pritaha Priyatamam Dorbhyam Sasvajay Premiva. So he was very happy and out of love, out of this great enthusiasm, from love, he gave a tight embrace to Vasudeva. So because he is also a senior in age to Vasudeva, so he did not bow down to him. And also he is a brother and younger to him in age. So, Dorbhyam Sasvade, he embraced him. Tam Vasudevam Sasvaje Nanda. So, to Nanda Maharaj, he gave a tight embrace. Natu Namaschakara, he did not bow down, pay obeisances to him, which may be appropriate. So, Vaisa Tato Jeshtatvat. Why? Because in age he was senior to him. So being senior, because we know that Nanda Maharaj got the son in his advanced age. So he is senior. Vasudeva was not old like that. So Pujitaha Sukham Asinaha Prishtavan Amayamadritaha Prashaktadhi Swatmajayo Ridamaha Vishampate. So Sukadeva Goswami says, O king, Vishampate means king, Pujitaha, when he was honored by Nanda Maharaj, and Sukhamasina, and he was sitting comfortably, Prishtva Anamayam Adrite, and he was given great respect. So then he asked him, Prishtavan Amayam, about his health. Like you sit down, then you ask questions, how are you, how is everything? And he specifically asked about his two sons. So Prashaktadhi means his mind was very much attached to them. Swatma Jayor Idamahamsha. So why two sons? So because both are in his mind, both are his sons. Balram is his son and Krishna is also his son. So Nanda Maharaj does not know this, that he is asking about his two sons. He is only saying, how are the children, how is everything like that. He is not saying my. So Aha Vasudeva spoke. Who spoke? Vasudeva. So what did he say? Dishtya bhrata pravayasha idanima prajasyate prajashaya nivrittasya prajayat samapadyata. So he says that with great fortune, O my brother, in this old age, when you have given up all hopes of having any children, you have got a child. So this is truly by the grace of God, Dishtya. So the Devam Dishtam Bhagdeham. Amarko says that Dishta, Deva, Bhagdeham, they all means fate, fortune, past karma, Deva, divine grace. So, and Nanda Maharaj is called here as Pravayasa. So Pravayasa means advanced age. And Aprajasya, you did not have any children. And Prajashaya Nivrittasya, in fact you had given up all hopes that you will have a child. But now Dishtya Samapadyata. By good fortune, you have got a son. So he is not saying that he is my son. He is also not saying that you have got a son. He says you have got a child. It can be boy, girl, no problem. So Pravayasa Vriddhasya, Pravayasa means old. Putro Jata iti yukte mithyokti. So he did not say that you have got a son, because if you would say that, then it will be a false statement. Because the son is his son. So therefore he doesn't want to make a false statement. At the same time he wants to ask him that how is your child? Child is a good word in English also. Could be boy, could be girl. So in Sanskrit also he is saying praja. Can be used for both. So kanya iti yukta nandasya apratiti. If he says how was the girl? So Nanda will say, what girl are you talking about? I have a boy. So ataha praja iti apatya vachaka shabda prayoga. Therefore he has used the word praja. So it remains open for interpretation. That in his mind he is thinking praja is boy, and for Nanda Maharaj he is thinking boy, but he says, well, this is my boy, but your was girl. That you got a girl in old age, basically that's what he wants to say. That when he had no hope of having any child, he got a girl, but he is not saying that. So mataputra nyasam swakanya chauryam cha katham chinnando janati navaiti shankaya api tachabda prayoga. So that you actually had a girl and I had a boy and I stole your girl and put my child there. So he says he does not know whether Nanda Maharaj knows this or does not. So therefore he is speaking in this manner. So that Nanda Maharaj would not get any doubt. If he knows, he knows. If he does not know, then he does not know. So it works both ways. So this is how he spoke to him. So dishtya samsara chakresmin vartamanah punarbhavah uplabdho bhavanadya durlabham priya darshanam. So he says that in this material world, everybody is in a chakra, because chakra means going round and round, because we are on earth. Earth is rotating around the sun. It's also rotating around its axis. So therefore we are all rotating in the cycle. So he says that now I have met you, it is as if I got a new birth. So it is very difficult to have darshan of one's priyajan, relatives. Not easy, because there is no way of communicating also. In olden days there was no such means that you can telephone or you can have Skype or Zoom or Facebook or anything like this. So these things are new. So therefore it says that durlabham priya darshanam, that to have meeting with one's own near and dear ones is rare. So with some good fortune people meet. So he says it's also my fortune that I am meeting you today here. Dishtya bandhanadi klishtasya mam punarbhavo vartmane. And especially in my case, I was actually in prison, so there was also not much possibility of meeting. So for me it is just like a new birth. I am punarjanma eva adyabhut, as if I have taken new birth. Yato bhavan uplabdham uplabdha iti etavat kal paryantam aham bhavad anuplabdhan mritaiva. So by seeing you I am feeling as if I am reborn. Without you I was like a dead person. So we'll stop here if there is any question to ask.
Babaji Maharaj, Pranam, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So this is continuation from the verse last time,
Yes.
where Nanda Maharaj was doing donations and charity and doing acts with the sankalpa of, having Krishna's or Vishnu's mercy to come for his baby or for Krishna. Now, in the material world, in some spiritual circles, the end is, is as long as the means doesn't matter, it's the end that matters. So is sankalpa more important than the act itself, or sankalpa itself means that you have to do something, and so now you find the right way to do it? Is that the right understanding?
Yeah, sankalpa is for the act. I mean, sankalpa is for what? You say that I am going to do this act for this purpose. So it's not that sankalpa is independent of the act. He is giving charity, right? That is the act. Now before you give the charity, you do the sankalpa. For what purpose are you giving the charity? So they are related. Or you do yajna, so there also you take sankalpa. Why are you doing it? So there is a relation.
Does the act matter? As an example, say if a child steals from the father's wallet to buy him a present. So the intent was to kind of please the father to buy something for his birthday, but he's now taking the money from the father's wallet to kind of buy. So stealing is wrong in one aspect because he's done it wrong, but his intent was to please the father. How do we understand something like that?
Yeah, because why is he doing that? If he wants to please, is that the only way to please him? You think father will be pleased by this?
Right.
Unless father himself is training him to be a thief. Then he'll be pleased that I got the right type of son.
And I'm using that example to extrapolate. I mean, things like, say, if someone goes to gamble as an example with the intent, okay, maybe I'll use that money, for temple, or so the act is also equally important as the sankalpa, or they are both related.
Yeah, if you are following the shastra, then you have to also perform act as per shastra only. Because when we are talking about sankalpa is not that you do anything and take sankalpa. That sankalpa is related with shastric act. Because taking sankalpa is also part of shastric act. It is prescribed in shastra that you do the charity. Then before doing that, the proper way of doing charity, then there is a vidhi. So he is doing charity according to the vidhi, according to the shastric injunction. So taking sankalpa is also part of that.
So vidhi cannot be separated. That's the understanding, is vidhi cannot be separated irrespective of what the sankalpa is. Vidhi has to still be in.
Yes. It has to be.
And that's why Shastra has to be studied, because vidhi cannot be understood without understanding of Shastra.
That's why Krishna says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavasthita. That what is Karya, what is Akarya, this Pramana is Shastra in that. Otherwise people will start taking this and then make their own example. Examples don't make Siddhanta. Examples are given to make us understand what is Siddhanta. Siddhanta is coming from Shastra. So first you have to know the Siddhanta, and once you know, then you can explain that by giving examples. Not that you give examples and make your own conclusions and then say, look, this is how it is.
Can I ask one more follow-up question?
Yes.
So sometimes the example is given of gopis not doing anything, and they are naturally just performing their act, and that is why it is Uttama Bhakti. And so one should any act that is performed with the intent of, if you have your sankalpa or if your intent is for Uttama Bhakti, then all acts are justified. Is that a wrong understanding again?
No, that is not wrong understanding, but if you are actually devoted like that, Because devotional act is, you see, there is, Rupa Goswami explains this, that there is an action and then there is a bhav. So if they are aligned, then there is no problem. But the problem comes that you don't have the bhav and you have the action. So you are performing action and you are saying that my intention is this, but actually your real intention may be something else. So gopis are nitya siddhas, they are personification of that bhav. So in their case nothing can go wrong because their actions are sprouting, they are emanating from their bhav. So we don't have that bhav, we have some other bhav, so our actions also emanate from that bhav, which is not devotion. So that's why we have to follow Shastra. Gopis don't need to follow Shastra. They are nirgrantha. Nirgrantha pyurukrame.
So comparing ourselves to that is wrong. I mean, because they are, because they have the bhav, we don't have the bhav.
Yeah, how we can take their example to understand what is bhakti and then try to do that. But now to emulate them without having that bhav, then we can be in trouble. Not always, but certain things we can be in big problem because we are just doing it without bhav. And it may not be, healthy for our progress.
And so in the absence of that bhav, when someone acts, they are usually driven by their samskaras, and that's how it works. As in, if someone is...
So that's why I'm saying that
that's
why I'm saying that our praman is Shastra. So, Ishwaranam vacha satyam tathaiva acharitam kvachit. So the words of Ishvara are satya, true, and they also behave accordingly, not always. So just because Ishvara has done it or gopis have done it, that does not become praman. He says Ishwaranam vacha satyam. His instruction, his statement, that is the thing which is beneficial for us. So that's why he says that don't try to imitate them. Otherwise, just like Shiva drinking the poison, yatha, what is it, rubda abdhijam, then you will be destroyed. So we have to understand.
One last question.
Yes.
One last question, Maharaj. So if someone is, in an example, if someone is cheated, so one way is that person can seek revenge or person can seek to correct it. The other person might not care, or not cheated, maybe say insulted. If someone says something and someone insults someone. So one person, based on his swabhava or his bhava, might ignore it and say, it's mercy of Krishna, that there is no point in wasting time, let's focus only on sadhana and seva. And the other person might react. And, so would there be shastrik, like if he feels something adharma is being done, like say someone is doing something wrong and not looking correct, not personally to him, but maybe to somebody else. So in that case, one person might act on it, one person might choose to not act on it and just look at it as Krishna's mercy. Are those because of, individual, swabhavas that they have got within Prakriti? Or?
I mean, how can I say on somebody else's behalf what is their thought process when they are acting? That only that person can tell whether that person is acting because of the swabhava or he has some understanding and he's acting because of that.
And so some swabhava like that is not wrong. So if someone feels, as an example, if, say a neighbor is constantly, dumping his, I'm using just examples, the neighbor is constantly dumping his trash in front of your house. So one way is you just clean it up and say, I don't want to get into a fight because it will take away precious energy. The other would be to kind of confront and possibly see if he can solve the problem. So if one is just ignoring it and saying, okay, it's 2 extra minutes, I'll clean it up and just continue with my day. And with the sankalpa that, okay, it's just Krishna doing it. I'm just using random examples of it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You have to see. It's very difficult to give any answer to like this. It depends what kind of neighbor is that. if you think that that neighbor is very expert in fighting and is not going to listen to you and going to cause more trouble, then maybe this is the solution.
This is a better solution.
Yeah. But maybe if you talk to him, it will work. Then please don't do this. You can approach him. So you cannot just say, well, it's just better to clean yourself. But if the neighbor is some wicked fellow and is powerful and you don't have the ability to fight, so then you are going to invite more trouble from him.
Yes.
So that's the solution.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anything else?
Raj, I have a question, if there's still time.
Yes.
In verse 19, it is mentioned that Nanda satisfied the devas and the pitris. And so was this just done as a local custom? Or did he really have faith to attain something from them which we would consider as Anyabilash?
No, he already said that he is satisfying devas, pitris, all these things, Vishnu Aradhanartham. That to please Vishnu. And then pleasing Vishnu also to please his own son, who is Krishna. So these activities of yajna, shraddha karma, etc., they can be done in, again, this question of sankalpa comes. They can be done that I am pleasing them so that, I will get some prosperity. Or my understanding is that by pleasing them, I can lead happy life here, then I will go to Svargaloka and so on. Or they can be done as injunction to please Vishnu, because they are all part of Vishnu only. They are all people who have been put by Vishnu to manage the affairs of this universe. So that is one way. This will come in Bhakti Sandarbha. Jiva Goswami has a detailed explanation of this. So there, his intention was that by pleasing them, Vishnu will be pleased. So that's how he is doing it. Okay.